Major developments from the state of Texas. It's going on offense yet again. The Texas National Guard seizing control of a park that's been at the center of this migrant crisis. It's called Shelby Park. It sits along the Rio Grande River. It served as a landing point for illegals crossing into the U.S. for more than 2 years. This means not even the feds can patrol there. Matt Finn live in Eagle Pass to tell us how it's going. I guess this is day one or day two, Matt? Good morning.
Essentially, day two, this all started developing yesterday, Bill, and it's a rather remarkable situation. Behind me right now is Shelby Park, the park that you were referring to. Our viewers may recognize it. Our cameras have been here for about 2 years now, showing you the mass illegal immigration that happens right here in this park. You might recall even just a few weeks ago, there was that huge surge of migrants who crossed right here. Well, now under Governor Abbott's emergency declaration, the Texas National Guard has seized control of this park and some surrounding land along the river, put up fencing and razor wire, and kicked out federal Border Patrol agents, arguing that it's the Biden administration that has perpetuated illegal crossings. So Texas is going to control this land from here on out. Our crews have seen what appears to be Texas National Guard blocking Border Patrol agents from key areas of the operation here. And senior Border Patrol agents confirmed to Fox News that BP has pulled resources to avoid a confrontation. Now, it's not quite clear if this unprecedented move by Texas is really going to help or harm illegal migration here, because it appears that ultimately when migrants arrive to this park, Texas National Guard is still going to have to turn them over for processing to Border Patrol, essentially adding an extra step. Another added layer, the mayor of Eagle Pass says he was completely caught off guard by this move. He does not agree with his park being taken over and is looking into his legal options.
This is not something that the city wanted, requested, asked for. He made it clear that this is the state and that they have the legal authority to do that. Of course, our legal team is looking into the actions taken by the states.
We will be here outside of the park over the next couple of days. We'll keep you updated on how the situation unfolds, Bill.
They're trying again. All right, Governor Abbott, there he goes. Matt Finn, thank you, live in Eagle Pass.
Another huge migrant caravans launching out of southern Mexico right now, gaining steam as it heads up here. Today, we're finding out what and who is behind the millions of migrants breaking into the country. Documentary filmmaker Anthony Rubin went to South America and then traveled with a caravan all the way up to our border. Wicked jungles, death trains, cartels. He was there the whole time. But it all started in Colombia, where nonprofit groups like the Red Cross are giving migrants maps to help them get here.
Consider this map, which shows the route from Colombia to the United States and marks 12 U.S. border crossing points with flags. Many similar maps are distributed by other organizations. This map, distributed by the Red Cross, shows the route from Panama to the United States in painstaking detail.
Well, we reached out to the Red Cross and they said their work is strictly humanitarian. But there's nothing humane about any of this, not for the American people or the migrants. The filmmaker went through the notorious Darien Gap, a deadly jungle in Panama that migrants have to cross to go north.
It's so crystal clear how people are just dropping dead left and right. If you hurt yourself somehow, there's actually zero way that you're going to get out of this jungle. And then add to that danger, people attacking you, criminals on the route. Extremely dangerous. Children walking by crying, like right here. This is the Trail of Tears.
Now, if you survive the Darien Gap, you're put in a temporary refugee camp run by the UN. Migrants are given another map and told America is that way.
After illegal aliens exit the Darien Gap and enter Panama, they are transported out of the jungle by piragua boats and buses and moved into Panamanian refugee camps. It is here that illegal aliens are processed and given the aid and instructions necessary to continue their journey to the United States. So-called migration route maps can be found everywhere.
Now, from there, you pay off the cartel to get you into Mexico. And Anthony joined a highly organized caravan whose leader held a crucifix with the words, "Containment is my death," etched in it. The next stop, all aboard the Migrant Express. They call it the Train of Death, a freight train that smuggles migrants across Mexico. And does Mexico stop it? No.
At around 1 a.m., conductors intentionally stop the train about 1 mile from the NGO, and cartel members assist in the boarding process.
Every step of the journey is facilitated by nonprofits. Hebrew nonprofits, Norwegian nonprofits, French nonprofits. They're making it easier to break into the country. Maps, trains, buses, food. And once they get here, there's no resistance. Our doors wide open. And the migrants are grateful.
¿Por qué los migrantes le gusta Biden?
Porque él apoya a los emigrantes. Trump no sirve. Trump no quiere a los emigrantes.
¿Cómo todos los migrantes apoyen presidente Biden en la elección? ¿Migrantes prefiere presidente Biden o presidente Trump?
Biden.
How do you like Joe Biden?
Joe Biden is a nice guy.
Biden has a 100% approval rating with the migrants. At least they can't vote. Yet.
Pay attention and listen, because this CIA agent is going to tell you how to prepare for an upcoming disaster. Look.
Tip number one, only ever wear closed-toed, laced shoes. So only ever wear closed-toed, laced shoes. You can see my mouth can't wrap my way around it. Because no matter what shit hits the fan, if you got closed toes and laces on your feet, you're safe. I have seen way too many bad guys neutralized because they're fighting in flip-flops or sandals or some other shit. And as soon as like asphalt breaks and grass breaks and cement is falling down, your feet are fucked. Your fighting days are over. So always wear closed-toed shoes with laces. Number two, carry small denominations of US dollars. Because when the economy goes to shit, a $5 bill is going to be worth much more than $5. So if you only have 20s, 10s, and $100 bills, then you're going to be overpaying for everything because no one's going to give you change. So you need to carry small amounts of currency, because as soon as the banks shut down, every piece of currency massively increases in value. So I always encourage people to carry $200 in cash, US dollars in cash.
Not Canadian
I recommend
dollars.
you carry those in small denominations.
What about Canadian dollars or Turkish lira?
Oh, I would do the same thing with all of it, man. Keep everything
Okay.
in small amounts. Because here's the thing. If you're in Turkey and you're trying to get out of Turkey, guess what the most important currency is going to be?
So do you think USD would still be universally recognized as superior to those in those situations? You would take lira over USD in some cases?
As long as US dollars are the dominant economic force,
Yeah.
you want to use those.
Okay.
We don't stand the risk of losing US dollar dominance until we start reaching parity with some other economic power. So 2027, 2029, 2031, that's when you have to really keep an eye on what currency is going to be. But currency valuations change much slower than we think,
Yeah.
right? Because there's momentum behind them. So get your hands on US dollars, have them in small denominations. That's tip number two. Tip number three, the only self-defense weapon you need to be a master with is some kind of baton.
So let's recap. Number one, closed-toed shoes. Number two, you need at least $200 for when the banks fail. And number three, you need to become proficient with a physical weapon. Because if you're just carrying around a gun, once you run out of ammo, that weapon becomes useless. And if I were you, I would start preparing now, because it seems like Mark Zuckerberg is already building an apocalypse bunker in Hawaii.
Just a few hours from now, a convoy of protesters calling themselves God's Army will set off for Louisiana, and it begins day 2 of a planned week-long protest over the Biden administration's border policies. Xavier Walton is in Jacksonville, Florida, with the very latest. Xavier, is this group, I don't know, up and at 'em for day 2 of traveling now?
Marky, they are up and at 'em. Some people awake this morning, and it is growing as well. This truck actually, just joined in Jacksonville, and the one here to your left, this RV, is the one that is going to be leading the pack, the convoy. This group going to great lengths, driving thousands of miles to highlight the ongoing issue at our southern border. The convoy pulling in late last night, welcomed by dozens of people waving American flags and a band singing the national anthem. One woman even giving the driver of this RV money, gas money. Supporters traveling from places like New Jersey and Missouri, some showing up from Georgia just to be a part of this Take Our Borders Back convoy. As you see him pulling in, it comes as the standoff between Texas and the federal government over border enforcement intensifies. That plus the record number of encounters at the border last fiscal year is why Joseph Fulfer, who is streaming this, is driving across the country.
It's affecting my kids. When I'll have grandkids, and this is costing us billions of dollars. And I've been down there for months, and I can tell you the border is wide open.
After leaving Florida, the convoy, you see it here, heads to Louisiana before making stops along border hotspots in Eagle Pass, Texas, Yuma, Arizona, and San Ysidro, California. And that's where organizers say it's really going to pick up steam. And as I point you over here, it's not just RVs and trucks. It is also normal cars as well. That white vehicle there, a woman, I saw her this morning. She slept in it last night, got a few hours of rest, and she said she's getting ready to start driving again in just a couple of hours, Marky.
A lot of Americans that are devoted to this cause. Xavier Walton will check back in as they get going for day 2.
But we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now. Although we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it. We just put the biggest crack in that glass ceiling yet. Thanks to you and to everyone who's fought so hard to make this possible. I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's make this short and sweet. Let's talk about the things we already know. Those who are woke know what's going on. It says 2024 New Hampshire primary with DeSantis out, Trump, Haley seek last-minute votes. We already know that Haley is not going to get any votes. We already know that she's not even considered. This is already decided by the Electoral College. This is already decided by the 0.001% elite. Donald Trump is the last president. Donald Trump will be the president. I do not believe that there will be an election because Donald Trump is dominating the polls. Let me say it again. He is dominating the polls. Biden was chosen to bring down the integrity of this system. Biden was chosen to destroy this system. This is all a game, okay? This is the Hegelian dialectic. Donald Trump is the last president. You want to know why? It's because Donald Trump is a tool against pro-Americans, pro-patriots, and all those who would love him to come back because he appears to be someone who stands up. He appears to be someone who says what needs to be said, and he appears to be someone that's going to bring the people together, when in fact this is going to bring forth civil war. Now, as you can see, this coin was made back in 2017, 2018, when Donald Trump was in office, when him and Kushner went over to the Middle East. We also know that Prince William went over there to the Middle East, the first British royal to ever visit the Middle East since Israel became a nation in 1948 by way of the Balfour Declaration of the British Mandate. This is proof that Trump is the guy that they want. Trump is the guy that they, aka, coined to be the one to bring forth the Messiah for the Ish people.
and for the world, the Antichrist according to Revelations chapter 6, the white horse. Trump is the Trojan horse, and Trump is the one who's going to bring in mayhem. Remember, he said, this is the calm before the storm. Wake up. Proverbs chapter 26, verse 25 through 26. It says, when he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. That means that just because Trump speaks well, Trump speaks valiantly, and just because he speaks boldly, does not mean he has your best interests at heart. He is speaking fair because this is the only way to get the people to be deceived. Remember, the Bible says the devil deceived the entire world. His hatred is covered by deceit. What does that mean? That means Trump doesn't really love the people of this country. Trump is set up to deceive. Remember, he is a mason. He is designed and set up to say all the right things to get the right outcome that they are looking for. His hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be shown before the whole congregation. Meaning, everything that he truly stands for will be exposed and is being exposed, and it will be shown before the whole congregation, the congregation of Christ, the body of Christ, those who believe. Anybody who believes the truth knows that this man is set up to deceive. He is the final president, and it will not be an election. Wake up.
If you ain't talking money, I don't